Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going deep into the fascinating world of the power of the mind.
Yeah, it's amazing how much our minds influence everything we do.
Exactly. Our source material is an article from That's Life 24/7, and it really digs deep into how our minds can shape not only our thoughts and feelings.
But also our behaviors and even our physical health. It's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Before we get too far, I think it's important to define what we mean by the power of the mind. Is it some mystical force?
Right. Is it magic or is there real science behind it?
What are we actually talking about here?
Well, it's definitely not magic, though it can feel that way sometimes. It really boils down to the brain's incredible ability to shape our reality.
So our brains are like the architects of our experiences.
Exactly, you got it. Your brain processes information from the world around you, creates your perceptions, and ultimately drives your actions.
So we're not just passive recipients of whatever life throws at us. We have agency.
Precisely. And one of the most powerful examples of this is the mind-body connection. Think about the placebo effect.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. People experience real relief from pain or other symptoms just because they believe they're getting treatment, even if it's a sugar pill.
Exactly. It really highlights the potential for mental practices to influence our physical well-being.
That's incredible. So just the belief that we're receiving treatment can trigger real physiological changes.
It seems that way. It suggests that in certain situations, the power of belief and expectation can be just as impactful as medication.
Wow. That really is mind-blowing. The article also talks about the conscious and subconscious mind. Most people understand the basic idea, but how does this interplay actually affect us in our daily lives?
Well, it's not just about knowing the difference, it's about understanding how they work together. Think of your subconscious mind as this incredibly powerful operating system running in the background.
Hmm, I like that analogy. So
Huh.
what's it doing back there?
Well, it's managing all sorts of things. Your automatic functions, storing your memories, habits, and those deeply ingrained beliefs.
Okay, so things that we might not even be aware of can influence our behaviors and choices.
Yeah, pretty much. And here's where things get really interesting. The subconscious can be incredibly resistant to change because it's operating based on patterns and beliefs that have been established over time.
So it's like those limiting beliefs we all have, like I'm not good enough or I'll never be able to achieve that. Could those be rooted in our subconscious even if we don't consciously believe them?
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to understand how to work with the subconscious, not against it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So if we want to tap into the power of our minds, especially at that deeper subconscious level, where do we even begin?
Well, the article dives into some really fascinating techniques. One that stood out to me was visualization.
I've heard of that, like vision boards and stuff.
It's kind of like that, yeah. But it's more about really using the power of mental imagery to shape our reality.
So it's not just about daydreaming. It's about really engaging our imagination to create a mental blueprint for success.
You got it. You're training your mind. By vividly imagining yourself achieving a goal, you're creating this strong mental and emotional connection to that outcome.
So the key is to engage all of our senses, make it as real as possible in our minds, almost like we're experiencing it in the present moment.
Exactly. And, the more you nurture that image with focused attention and emotion, the more likely it is to manifest in your reality.
That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
But what about those inevitable doubts and negative thoughts that always seem to creep in? It's hard to stay positive all the time.
That's where mindfulness comes in. And I don't just mean sitting on a meditation cushion, though that can be helpful too. Mindfulness is really about becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
So it's not about suppressing those negative thoughts, but learning to observe them without getting carried away by them.
Right. Imagine you're sitting by a river, watching the water flow. Your thoughts are like leaves floating on the surface. You don't need to grab onto every leaf and analyze it. Just watch them pass by.
I love that analogy. It's about creating a sense of detachment from our thoughts, realizing that we're not our thoughts.
You're getting it. And the more you practice this, the easier it becomes.
Hmm.
You're building a mental muscle, strengthening your ability to choose which thoughts you want to engage with and which to simply let go of.
That's so helpful. Okay, one more thing from the article. It talks about the law of attraction. Is that just wishful thinking, or is there something more to it?
Well, the law of attraction suggests that like attracts like. Basically, your thoughts and beliefs can influence your reality. It's a fascinating concept, but I think it's important to approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism, too.
So it's not about magically manifesting $1 million just by thinking about it, but more about cultivating a positive mindset that aligns with your goals.
Exactly. If you're constantly dwelling on negative thoughts, you're more likely to perceive the world through a negative lens. But if you focus on what you want, believe it's possible, and take aligned action, you're more likely to attract positive outcomes.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. But let's be real. How much control do we actually have over our minds? I mean, I can't just magically stop thinking about that embarrassing thing I did last week.
You and me both. You're absolutely right. Complete control over our thoughts is probably unrealistic. Our minds are constantly buzzing with activity, and it's influenced by so many factors: our genes, our environment, our past experiences.
So it's not about achieving some kind of Zen-like state of perpetual bliss where no negative thoughts ever arise.
That might be a bit too ambitious for most of us. What we can do is learn to manage those thoughts more effectively. It's about becoming aware of our mental chatter, noticing when it's not helpful, and developing strategies to redirect our focus.
So instead of trying to silence the entire orchestra, we're learning to become the conductor, choosing which instruments we want to emphasize and which to let fade into the background.
Love that analogy. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose which thoughts to engage with and which to just observe without judgment.
This is all so insightful, and there's clearly much more to explore. What other empowering truths about the mind await us in part two?
Well, we've laid the foundation, explored the interplay between the conscious and subconscious mind, and we've even glimpsed the power of visualization and mindfulness. But now it's time to delve into even more practical techniques for harnessing the power of your mind to achieve your goals and create the life you truly desire.
I'm already hooked. Can't wait to dive in.
Me too. Let's do it.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the power of the mind. I'm still processing all the amazing insights we've uncovered so far. It's like we've been given a glimpse into the control panel of our own minds.
Absolutely. And remember, this isn't just about feeling good. It's about unlocking your full potential, becoming the architect of your own reality.
Okay, I'm all in on that. So let's get practical. If I want to use the power of my mind to achieve a specific goal, where do I even begin?
The article suggests starting with something a lot of people overlook: clearly defining your goals. It's not enough to just say, I want to be happier or I want to be more successful.
Right, I've heard of SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Is that what we're talking about here?
Exactly. Instead of I want to be happier, a SMART goal might be I want to meditate for 10 minutes every morning for the next month. It gives your mind a clear target to focus on.
Okay, that makes sense. So I've got my SMART goals. Now what?
Now we bring back that powerful tool we talked about earlier: visualization. Close your eyes and imagine yourself achieving that goal. See it, feel it, hear it, make it as real as possible in your mind.
So it's not just daydreaming. It's about creating an immersive experience, like a mental movie where I'm the star.
You got it. And here's the thing. Neuroscientists have found that when you vividly imagine yourself performing an action, your brain fires in a similar way to when you're actually doing it.
No way.
Yeah.
So our brains can't really tell the difference between a vivid imagination and reality. That's wild.
It highlights the incredible power of our minds to shape our reality. By repeatedly visualizing your desired outcome, you're essentially programming your brain for success.
Okay, but what about those pesky negative thoughts that inevitably pop up? How do I deal with those?
Remember the river analogy we talked about earlier? Your thoughts are like leaves on the surface of the water. Mindfulness is about observing those thoughts without judgment, letting them float by without getting swept away by them.
So it's about creating that space between our thoughts and our reactions, right?
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we are not our thoughts. We have the power to choose which thoughts we engage with and which we simply observe and let go.
But what if those negative thoughts are deeply ingrained beliefs like I'm not good enough or I'll never be able to achieve that? How do I deal with those?
That's where affirmations can be incredibly powerful. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself to challenge negative thoughts and reprogram your subconscious mind.
So if I'm afraid of public speaking, I might repeat something like, I am a confident and engaging speaker over and over.
Exactly. The key is to choose affirmations that are specific, positive, and stated in the present tense as if they are already true.
But does simply repeating these phrases really change anything?
Think of your subconscious mind like a garden. If you keep planting negative seeds, you're going to get negative fruit. But if you start planting positive seeds through affirmations, you can gradually change the landscape of your mind.
So it's about rewiring our brains to think and believe differently.
Precisely. And there's real science behind this. Studies have shown that repeating affirmations can lead to actual changes in brain activity, strengthening the neural pathways associated with positive thinking and self-belief.
Wow, that's incredible. It really highlights the power we have to shape our own minds and ultimately our own destinies.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this whole topic so empowering. We are not simply victims of our circumstances or our genetics. We have the power to change our minds. And in doing so, we can change our lives.
This is so inspiring. It's like we've been handed the keys to our own potential. Is there anything else we should be focusing on as we continue on this journey of self-discovery?
There's one more powerful tool I want to share with you: gratitude. It might seem simple, but cultivating a sense of gratitude can have a profound impact on your overall well being.
Okay, I'm all about simple yet powerful tools. But what does practicing gratitude actually look like? Is it just about saying thank you more often?
It can be that simple, but taking a few moments each day to truly reflect on what you're grateful for can shift your entire perspective.
I can see how that would help. When we're focused on what we lack, it's easy to feel discouraged. But when we shift our attention to what we have, it's easier to feel content and empowered.
Exactly. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's about rewiring your brain to notice and appreciate the positive aspects of your life. It's about creating a more positive and optimistic outlook, which can have ripple effects in all areas of your life.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far. We've covered so much ground: the conscious and subconscious mind, the power of visualization, affirmations, and gratitude. But I know there's more to come. What other mind-blowing insights await us in the final part of our exploration?
We've explored the incredible potential of the mind, but putting these techniques into practice isn't always easy. In the final part, we'll dive into the challenges you might encounter and share practical tips for staying motivated and overcoming obstacles on your journey to self-mastery.
Welcome back. It's one thing to learn about all these incredible techniques for harnessing the power of the mind, but it's another thing entirely to put them into practice consistently.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It's like having all the ingredients for a delicious meal, but never actually getting around to cooking it.
Exactly. So let's talk about those real-life challenges. What are some of the biggest obstacles people face when trying to incorporate these practices into their lives?
Well, I think one of the most common ones is consistency. Life gets busy, distractions pop up, we fall back into old habits.
So how do we break free from that cycle?
The article really emphasizes the importance of making these practices a non-negotiable part of your routine.
Like scheduling it in, almost like a meeting with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Treat your mental fitness with the same commitment you'd give to a physical workout.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those days when motivation is running low? How do we get ourselves back on track?
Well, one thing the article suggests is finding a practice that truly resonates with you. If you're forcing yourself to do something you dread, you're probably not going to stick with it.
Right, it has to feel good. If it feels like a chore, we're just going to find excuses to skip it.
Exactly. So experiment. Try different techniques until you find something that you actually enjoy and that feels effective for you.
It's like finding a workout that you actually look forward to doing, something that energizes you rather than drains you.
Right. And don't underestimate the power of community. Share your goals with supportive friends or family members. Maybe join a meditation group or find an accountability partner.
It's like having a cheering section for your mind. I love that.
It really helps. Having that support system can make a huge difference when you're feeling stuck or discouraged. And, don't forget that setbacks are a normal part of the process.
Oh yeah, that's important to remember.
Don't beat yourself up if you miss a day or if you find yourself slipping back into old patterns. It happens to all of us. Just acknowledge it, learn from it, and get back on track.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And speaking of progress, the article highlights the importance of celebrating your wins, no matter how small they might seem.
Oh, I love that. It's like giving yourself a mental high five every time you make a positive choice or achieve a milestone, no matter how tiny.
Exactly. Recognizing and celebrating those wins reinforces those positive patterns. It keeps you motivated to keep going.
It's like you're building momentum towards your goals.
Yeah.
Each small win fuels your belief in yourself and your ability to create lasting change.
Precisely. And remember, the journey of self-discovery and personal growth is ongoing. There will always be new challenges to face, new levels of awareness to uncover. But the more you practice these techniques, the more empowered you'll become to navigate the complexities of your own mind and create the life you truly desire.
This has been such an inspiring deep dive. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insights with us. As we wrap up this exploration of the power of the mind, what's one final thought-provoking question we can leave our listeners with?
If you could intentionally harness the power of your mind to achieve one specific goal or change one aspect of your life, what would it be? What's holding you back? And what's one small step you can take today to start moving towards that desired outcome?
That's such a powerful question. And on that note, we encourage all of you listening to continue exploring the incredible potential that lies within you. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep believing in your ability to create the life you truly want. The power to change your mind and your reality is within your grasp. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.